I'm Winsome Earl Sears, candidate for governor, and I sponsored this ad.
Would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail?
Our next question is about the temperature and tone of political speech. The first example has been shaping the race for governor and attorney general for the past week. You both will have a chance for rebuttal. Democratic Attorney General nominee Jay Jones admits he sent text messages to a colleague referencing former Republican House Speaker Todd Gilbert. Here's what he wrote.
Jones. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Colleague. Jay, please stop. Jones. LOL, okay. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. Colleague. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Jones. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
Jay Jones has apologized and says he takes full responsibility for those messages. Ms. Spanberger, you have called the comments disgusting and said you condemn violence. The question for you tonight is, were you aware of these messages before they were released publicly? And will you continue to endorse Jay Jones as the next Attorney General of Virginia? You have 60 seconds.
The comments that Jay Jones made are absolutely abhorrent. I denounced them when I learned of them, and I will denounce them every opportunity I get. As a mother, as a public servant, as a candidate for governor, I denounce them. And it is important that candidates always denounce violence on no matter which side of the aisle. Violence, violent rhetoric, we should always be focused and forceful in our denouncement of it.
Are you going to tell him
and
to get
importantly, my opponent unfortunately only denounces violence when her side is the target. I hope
like that,
into
Abigail.
the future she will endeavor to denounce violent rhetoric and violence no matter who the victim. And tonight, Lieutenant Governor Earl Sears, I will say, you routinely referred to me as your enemy.
Just please give her a chance to respond.
You routinely refer to me as your enemy. I'm not your enemy. You are not my enemy. We are political opponents, and tonight voters are here to listen to the policy differences that we have. So as we move forward, we must continue to set a good example for all of our children.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years. I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
She denounces murder.
And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them.
You're running to
presumably for political reasons, but the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee.
Ms. Earl Sears,
and it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General?
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words that I say, for the acts that I take, for the policies that I have put out.
Thank you.
I am responsible for the policies I put out and the work I will endeavor to do tirelessly
You are
for the
responsible
people
as
of
governor.
Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. Ms. Earl Sears, before we get to rebuttals, because we will get to rebuttals, we have a question for you. While there is no equivalency, this next example does speak to the divided nature of our country. During the Charlie Kirk Memorial, President Trump said, quote, "I hate my opponent and I don't want the best for them." Is there a place for that kind of political speech? You have 60 seconds.
Well, I think, as everybody knows, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian before I'm a Republican, and I'm required to forgive people. And it's hard sometimes when somebody has abused you, etc., but it's something you must do, because not to forgive is almost like, as someone said, you drink poison thinking that it's going to affect the other person. And I want to live a decent life, and I don't want to not have peace in my life. And so as I've said before, I would not say that. So that's why I'm wondering why my opponent won't say, beyond it's abhorrent and disgusting, why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race, because J. Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old. You have little girls. What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Ms. Earl Sears, I know you're saying that you would not personally say this, but do you think still that there is that place for that kind of rhetoric, the example that we gave, even coming from others? You have 30 seconds.
So I'm responsible for my behavior, and what I've just said, I wouldn't say that. I would not speak that way. Look, I'm from a third world country. I was born in Jamaica, and when I was 10 years old, I saw that kind of political violence, which is why I'm asking my opponent to please ask him to get out of the race. Have some political courage. What you have done is you are taking political calculations about your future as governor. Well, as governor, you have to make hard choices, and that means telling J. Jones to leave the race. I have seen what it means when people are shot in the streets and thrown in the back of cars just for political purposes. I don't want to see that in America. America must never be that place, and Abigail needs to say something.
Ms. Earl Sears, you're out of time there. We do have one more follow-up question for you before we get to rebuttals. One more question for you. This is on the topic of endorsements. President Trump has endorsed the Republican incumbent Attorney General. Do you need Trump's endorsement to win the race in Virginia? You have 30 seconds.
So I will take all endorsements, including the president, and I am working very hard for the people of Virginia. I believe in lower taxes. The people want that. My opponent, unfortunately, she's already said she's going to raise taxes. She's going to raise energy rates. Well, she's already voted that way because, well, that's all she wants is solar and wind. Well, if you look outside, the sun isn't shining and the breeze isn't blowing. And then what, Abigail? What will you do? What will you do? You're smirking. And you know that the people of the Southwest have a lot of energy issues.
Ms. Earl Sears, we need to get to rebuttals. So, Ms. Spanberger, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I think in her response to the question that you asked, my opponent proved my point, which is when violent rhetoric comes from her side of the aisle, she refuses to denounce it. The statement that you read from President Donald Trump was violent rhetoric that she refuses to denounce, and this is why I say you are not
Earl Sears,
my enemy.
She has her 30
and
seconds.
I wish you would stop using language like that. But I am also glad that she began speaking about issues of affordability, because as we are talking about issues of affordability, I am the only candidate on stage who's put forth a plan to actually lower costs for Virginians.
Ms. Earl Sears, now your turn for a rebuttal.
Yes.
You have 30 seconds.
So what Abigail has just said is a lie, that she's the only one who has affordability. Please go to spanbergerlies.com and check that out. I don't understand why you just can't come forward and say he needs to go. I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it? Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right?
Ms. Spanberger, I want to give you a chance
I
to
have a
respond
rebuttal to
since
that?
yes.
Once
You have
again,
30 seconds.
I have denounced political violence, political rhetoric, no matter who is leading the charge. When given the opportunity, Lieutenant Governor Earl Sears, you have not done the same.
No matter who is leading the
And
charge
so
on
when
what?
it is important that all
When
of us set
someone
a better
showed a sign
example.
that
Mr. Earl,
said,
it's difficult for us
"I
to
would not
hear
drink
if
out
you're
of
both
a water
talking.
fountain,"
Is
it took you
Mr.
a whole
providing
day to
the
say
comments
something,
Mr. Earl,
that
we
Abigail.
need
are
to move on,
advocating
but it's
for
difficult for
political-
us
She
to
has no-
hear
she has
if
no
you're both
courage.
talking.